Welcome to the Kiwi Advisor Network podcast. Very happy to be joined today by Anand Srinivasan from Brisk Insurance, our first ever risk insurance only advisor. We've been dealing mainly with mortgage advisors, but thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Really a pleasure to be here. And got a surprise call from Wesley, but it was nice to come and share some of my thoughts about the industry. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we're really stoked to have you on here because I know how experienced you are. I know how well regarded you are by other advisors in the industry. Maybe for those of the people out there who don't, know your backstory, how you got into the industry, maybe you could share with us your journey.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting, story. But long and short is, in 2005, I think October, I landed in New Zealand as any other immigrant. You start looking for a job. So I was fortunate to attend this program by Chamber of Commerce called Kiwi Career Success Program. And two things I picked up was that jobs are not advertised in New Zealand, and you need to have good network, and no pointing and putting in a CVs to 10 recruiters, you're never going to get a job. So fortunately for me, I networked through and got a little break to do as a consultancy work with AI, the insurance company. I worked with them for nearly 9 to 11 years. And then decided to take a plunge to the other side, be a self-employed advisor. And the only reason I did it was because I saw a lot of claims come through, and many claims could have been paid out if there was a lot of involvement with an advisor and if the clients had a knowledge of how to fill a form. Mm-hmm. So basically with a leap of faith, I started my business in 2015. It's been 7 years and it's going pretty good.
Well done. Yeah, even just you saying how jobs aren't advertised, it is very much in New Zealand who you know.
Yes, absolutely. It's not about what you know and what you do. It's about whom you know and the connections. And it's very important. It's a small country. It's a beautiful country. And, also we value relationships. I think that's the first thing we need to realize. And particularly in my line of business, I love meeting people. So I couldn't ask for any other business where I'm seeing people, talking to you people and making a difference. So that's what I love about my job. And that goes in line with the risk insurance job. I think
you need to be quite almost a bit extroverted, don't you, to do it?
Yes. And my hobbies allows me to do that. And, I'm into extreme sport of paragliding, and I do fly at competition level. I'm the current Auckland regional champion for my class of glider and stuff like that. So you really put your life out there, and it's so fun to be meeting people and doing things.
I always see on the insurance applications, do you do any extreme sports? And it says paragliding. I'm like, who does that?
Absolutely. And that's a good question you raise. And people go, oh, you're not insurable. I said, absolutely. You get standard rates. It depends on the number of hours you put in. So I've got so many of my mates who got covers for extreme sports, Everything depends, again, on details. The devil is in the details. Just because you climb mountain doesn't mean no. It depends on how high you go, what depth you go. And everything is, again, a discussion. And the clients, it's always the clients. The clients see the light bulb, I never thought paragliding could be covered. And then you say, wow, standard rates. Because you hardly go out once a year, and that's pretty okay. So it's all about, or somebody who's doing acro and, taking part in competition every day, that's different. You won't get insurance, but it's all about presenting your case properly, talking to the insurance, and then about your background, when you're dealing with people, they know, this man knows what he's talking about. So that really helps the client, and outcome is for the clients.
And what are some common things, based on your time as an insurance advisor now and when you were at AIA, what are some common things that you think advisors could improve on so that there were less of those issues at claim time?
Yeah, what I think is, particularly I'm talking about insurance, not about any other thing, is you need to be a very good tailor, because everybody looks the same, but the measurements are different. So you don't go to a client and just say, look, here's the standard shirt size or pant size or whatever you want to do, and you measure it up. Okay, tailor measures up, and it does the good fitting for you, and that's what the job of an insurance advisor has been. So I don't assume when I go to see a person that, it's the same answer for every solution. Predominantly it could be, but that's not you listen. You got 2 ears and one mouth. You listen more and try and tailor make a package which will work. When I say which will work for me is claims. So to give an example, there's a story of that in my video. Is a very open story about it. The name of the client is Neville. And he became a client in 2016. But till date, he's had his trauma claim paid out twice, his TPD claim paid out, his income protection is still going on, and it's still alive, right? But that amount of money he's getting every month and over a period of time has been wonderful because that was the solution and the product he needed when I met him, right? So it's very important to listen. So if I had not convinced him to buy those products, he would have today seen only just buying life cover standard and nothing would have happened. He's not dead. So that's what I mean, listening and putting solutions which will make sense for the client.
And just talking about the videos that are on your website, I remember when I first saw them, and they are unbelievably well edited and directed, like to a standard that it almost feels like Netflix has put some money into it. I almost feel it felt it was a bit of a tearjerker, almost like the first few minutes of that Pixar movie Up. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but very emotional.
Well,
how did you put them together?
It's simple, when you pay money, you get things done, you get the best, as I said, you get the best insurance advisor, the best mortgage broker. You got to do some homework. So I did some homework and found the best person who does kind of a job. And I'm very proud to say his name is Freddie Mueller, and he does my promo video, and he's now based in Wanganui, but travels all over New Zealand. But he's just amazing because he's done it all his life. So everyone becomes an expert. And that's a good story because, everybody shoots documentaries. Everybody does everything. But why do we specifically like those videos is because Freddie has the technique and the way of bringing out those emotions from the clients. That's brilliant, right? And that's what happens. In my role also, I'm not an insurance advisor who was just born yesterday. It's years of experience of going through, working in a corporate, working through insurance advisors, training maybe 400 advisors over my lifetime. All this experiences brings into some kind of, attitude in you, which really gives good solutions for the clients. And that's what, always identify the right people to work with you and you get good results.
And how do you find those testimonial videos help with conversion?
It's just brilliant because, it's a very simple thing, If we talk about our own business and own product, it doesn't sound good, but when somebody else talks about it, people listen. And I'm always surprised. As part of my introduction, so somebody calls me out of the blue or being introduced, or Warwick told me about you, I always send them the link to a video and say, could you please watch this before I come and see you, or we do a Zoom meeting. So the client quietly does Google or they look at the video, they get a good idea of what we're talking about. Because I don't sell products, I sell solutions for the long term. And my philosophy with all my clients is, when you deal with me, we're getting married. I'm sorry. We're not literally, because it's a long-term relationship. So if you don't like me and I don't like you, we're not compatible. So I've also been pretty good at saying no to clients. When I find clients who don't match my kind of thinking or who just wants pricing or, premium, they don't work for me. I just tell them politely to look for another advisor because that's not the way I work. I'm looking for clients who can marry and live with them for long term.
And how long did it take for you to learn to be able to say no? Is it something you've always done or is it something you've implemented over time?
It's a very good question. Actually, being in business teaches you a lot. And as insurance advisors, all my colleagues will agree, we are really in the low down on the food chain because everybody needs a mortgage, they'll jump hoops. But clients' insurance, they like to run away. So basically what happens is, because there's a lot of effort, time, energy put in. So two things I did over a period of time is, I'm not going to waste my time. My time's important. So I charge a fee. So if somebody's not my client and they come to me for some help, I'm very clear about what I do. And I say, look, could be even $50 for maybe 15-minute consultation. But I let them know that you want me to look at these things. This is what you got in place, but this takes time. And I don't get paid unless I charge you for the time. You don't have to charm an arm and a leg, but always value your time. When you put a dollar value to what you're offering, the clients respect you. And I'm so surprised that probably when I started initially, I was very nervous of quoting fees. But now when I'm standard, I say, look, we don't proceed with the insurance. There's a cost of $300 or whatever it is for my 2 hours of time. And I'm amazed at how many clients actually are very happy with it. They say, yeah, we respect that. We understand. So we are no worse than an accountant or lawyer.
Any other profession.
Is the thing is we shy away. We don't talk about it. So the more and more, my message to most advisors is always end up your conversation after you offered a plan saying, this is what I'm going to do. And you can clearly demonstrate, like I can demonstrate to my client how much work I'm doing and how much time I'm going to put in to develop a plan. But end of the day, somebody's going to pay for it. So end of it, the client may not be eligible for insurance, so who pays for it? So in a worst case situation, they have to pay for my time. So initially I was very nervous to talk about it, but over a period of time now it's standard. People don't bat an eyelid. And that's the quality of referrals. People are coming to you because somebody referred you, and they already know you're good. And these videos, they're coming back to the point, they already see that and they say, that's what we want. We want that kind of support at claim time. So it's a package deal, but it's over a period of time I've learned how to position myself. And so I don't, feel offended or I don't feel bad. I had a client yesterday, to give an example. We couldn't get him the deal. It's been working on it for 6 months. So the cost of that whole time is $1,200 GST, and he's very happily paying it because we're going to relook at his insurances next year because the key person cover and his financials are not looking good. But I've told him what to do. So but the client's not walking away with the feeling, oh, I've been shafted. He's very happy with the guidance. He knows what he needs to do, and probably next year we'll be able to put him some cover. But he's happy to pay for my time.
And you framed it really well at the start. It's not like they're working together with you. It's not you just trying to pitch them a product.
Yes. So, and that again comes with many insurance advisors who have been in the industry. And I'm very blessed and fortunate because I don't have to submit 6 application forms to 6 insurance companies. I do envy mortgage brokers when they have one standard form with 6 banks. We don't have that. But I do have my good relationship with all the underwriting managers and chief underwriters of most companies. And I just flick an email in summary of what would you offer Warwick with this situation. And most of them are very kind enough to give a little bit of time and explain to me what they can do. So I shop around for my clients pretty hard. And I'm very transparent with my clients as to why I'm charging any fees. So at that stage, if somebody's got an objection or feels, insurance brokers don't charge fee, they're not my client. Because we won't fit together, so over the long run. Because I don't want a short-term sailing. It's about the long-term relationship.
And how do you build relationships with the underwriters?
Oh, that's a very good question you raise. As I said, again, I'm fortunate. I was in the industry and most of my colleagues are now. It's a small world, and most of them are in different places and they already know about me, So they say, Anand, that's bullshit. If we say something, it's true, So they don't have the suspicion. So some of them are my good mates. So they know my quality of work because we worked together for 10 years. And also the industry knows with all the awards and which I've won, and plus the videos, they know this man means business. He's actually getting results. And then the technical knowledge of the subject is pretty strong because I know what I'm talking about. And underwriters love dealing with me because I give all facts. I don't thump my table and ask, I want this. I say, this is why I want it. Give them the blood results or the medical notes and support it with the findings and why I want what I done, right? So there are many examples I can give you, but the key is never to assume that a claim will not be paid. That's the common mistake we make. It's about understanding why the claim will not be paid and positioning it properly, right? So one of the golden rules which I want to tell advisors and basically the industry knowledge I want to share is you should know the list of exclusions on any policy, if you go to medical especially. And I'll give you a very, very common example which I see and which I really help. One of the golden rules of engagement is call me before you call your doctor. Every client of mine knows that. And the reason for that is very simple. Like 2 weeks back, my client was going for a colonoscopy and some of the diagnostics. So he sent me the referral letter or the report from the doctors. And it said, we need to get this done because of his past cancer history and we want to get it done under surveillance. So the word surveillance is a big no-no in any industry. If you look at all the policy wordings, it means medical claim will not be paid, no form of surveillance. All it needed was go back to specialist and say, you don't mean surveillance, right? You mean basically he needs that kind of monitoring. So could you change the word to monitoring? And the specialist said, we didn't know that. We'll do that. Right? And they changed the wording to, yes, Warwick needs to have a repeat colonoscopy because we're monitoring his cancer. And lo and behold, the claim gets approved. So if you allow a client to directly deal with an insurance company and the medical transcriptions, they all use the word surveillance by default. We need to put in this kind of thing. So you got to be careful and you're the go-between person. So I don't allow my clients to deal with the insurance company directly unless the information has been through me, and then I can see whether it's matching the wordings or not. So that's the amount of work you need to do to get a claim paid.
That's such crucial information, and the detail of just changing one word out is so important.
Yes.
how do you educate clients as part of your process so that they understand, don't call the doc before you call me. Obviously, in an emergency, call 111. But
it's a good thing. I repeat it like probably 15 times in my engagement, right from prospecting. Why am a different advice they ask? I said, I always ask you to call me before you call your doctor. So at the end of it, what I'm really proud of with my clients is most of them remember that. It's not you get up in the morning, you call your broker, but they remember, we're going to having this ache in my body. Oh, but remember Anand said, call him before I go to GP. They call me because about positioning. Right? It's about positioning, where you want to go. You want to go through ACC or you want to go through the insurance company. So it's about what kind of injury you had, where is a better deal, right? So if you have a conversation with me, I'll get you the money. So the key point is, it's not about educating the clients. I think clients are very good. All the client has to do is call the insurance broker before I call my doctor. That's their message. I'm educating the specialists, especially one particular oncologist practice knows me so well now. One Screen Institute, they all know me by name. And they know that they can't use the word surveillance. They learn from it. We didn't know we caused so much grief. I said, yes, you mean well. You basically want the client to come for repeat monitoring of his cancer and you want this test done. But you're using the word surveillance is a big no-no everywhere. That's not what you mean. I said, no, we don't mean. We want to monitor it. So please use the words. And then they're getting educated about insurance and say, oh, okay, sorry, we didn't know we were making a mistake. So I think it's about educating the specialists, the GPs, and so over a period of time, even GPs are referring me clients. And I've got one Newlyn, he's so impressed with Neville's story. He said, who's this guy? He should be my broker. So that's how it spreads, So basically doctors say, hang on, we didn't know this stuff. This is powerful. This is absolutely powerful. We didn't know we were making mistakes inadvertently. So that's the beauty of this industry. Every doctor, every specialist I've come across who have gone back and said, I want this kind of report from you, and never said no. Once you explain why you want it and what you're doing with it, they say, wow, this is okay. Yeah, this is okay. We can do that. Sorry, we mean that only. We didn't know. Because every doctor dictates, and the medical transcripts who types the notes uses the standard words. They don't think what they're doing. So it's a big industry like education thing I'm doing with a lot of specialists saying, please use the right words.
You need to go to some of the doctor conferences and...
Yes, talking about it, there's a story about ACC levies in my website from Dr. Dave Tandon. I met him in Honolulu when I was invited there for speaking on the ENT Surgeons Conference. So the head of Starship Pediatric, when he was treating my daughter, he said, why didn't you come over? We are normally called Medical Assurance Society every year, and this year they're not. I think we'll make it change. And your ACC talks are so good, and you've done some stuff for me. You got me some refunds on levies, so why didn't you come over? So I went to Honolulu. It was good fun, and I spoke to probably 300 Australia, New Zealand doctors, and there were probably 100 doctors from New Zealand, all ENT surgeons. And that's when Dr. Tandon's ACC bills came. And immediately after coming back, he called me over. And probably I got him $7,000 refund. He was over the moon. And he was happy to do the video for me, and how important it is to, and yeah, it kind of spreads around. Once one surgeon knows, the other surgeon says, oh, I want you to review my... It just goes on and on and on. So it's pretty cool.
It's such a good circle to be mingling in.
Yeah, it is. I love dealing with doctors and use terminologies. I'm very, when I speak their language. I talk about schwannoma, I talk about carcinoid tumor and stuff. They say, wow, you talk like a doctor. I said, well, I'm seeing those things every day in my life, playing trauma claims. So we all most insurance advisors who've been in industry actually get pretty good in diagnostics. We pretty much become kind of a little GP and what kind of tablets you'll have for depression, what will be prescribed for you when you have a ache and stuff. So it pretty much matches up. Yeah, you get experience in that field.
I'm always impressed with insurance advisors and their knowledge of the human body. But over time, you're just going to naturally pick that type of thing up.
Naturally pick up, because you deal with melanoma, you deal with these tumors, and the gradings, you got to see the reports. You get privy to so much of negative information and what's a Gleason score in a prostate and what level it'll be paid at trauma because you're getting these things done. You're getting money being paid out and you learn from that. And that's the experience. Nobody can teach you. Nobody can teach you in a classroom. It's just years and years of experience.
Got to draw the line. You're not doing mole maps in your initial meeting.
No mole maps or anything, but 15 years of experience is good, I think, and I enjoy. So the thing is about, the truth, if you have a passion for what you do, insurance is just a business for me, but the means I'm earning is because of my passion for doing well for my clients. I think once you have the passion, once you have the knowledge and technical skills, you'll be good in what you do.
Yeah, I think that comes across as well because you've carefully put your website together, so it gives that message across. How long did that take to build out and get to a point where you're happy with it? Are you happy with it now?
No, it's any website or any development is ongoing. It needs refresh. It's a period of work. As I said, I've been surrounded by really good, fantastic people. Like, people behind the scenes are good. Like Wesley's doing this job is so fantastic. So trust them to do the job. And get the right people. Don't cut corners. Pay good money, and the results will be good.
Yeah, I don't think we cut any corners here, do we, Wesley? Wesley's shaking his head.
Yeah, so double his salary.
Yeah, double. To turn the lights off, save power.
That's all good. No, it is interesting. It is. I mean, as I said, delegation is good, and get the right people to help you, and things work.
And how many people are helping you in the business at the moment?
Yes, I've got a full-time admin person, and at the moment I've got my full license. I'm an FAP for Brisk Insurance, and looking for another insurance advisor to join me with the right mindset and attitude to be my successor or have a good succession plan around it. So at the moment, I'm looking for an insurance advisor to join me.
And how do you find a really good admin assistant? A lot of people asking me.
Yeah, that's it's hard to find. In today's market, everyone knows, being an employee is good because there's so much of demand, and I think employee assistant is basically about attitude. You don't have to have someone who's really from the industry because you can have anyone who's got the attitude to learn, and want to have the same passion like you. So it's basically your eyes light up and you deal with all the sickness and illness. If you have someone wanting to learn more about it and want to have a goal of being an underwriter or maybe in some kind of operations manager or even an advisor, good space to come and join. And advisors like us, we can train and we can give a lot of knowledge, which will help them in their career. So with Brisk Insurance, or maybe they want to move on somewhere, but it's good to start with a good insurance advisor or a good mortgage broker.
Good mentor.
Yes, good mentor is very important. Put it like that. Absolutely. If you don't identify the right person, you learn all the wrong things. And then you'll wonder what happened, And I want to bring in this industry is so, we have very few advisors left now, I would say, compared to the market. As such, the products, we are underinsured. There's so much opportunity. I just want to bring a professional line. Means I want advisors to feel good, insurance advisors especially. And you can charge a fee. People will pay. Be confident. Be good in your job, but learn the right way to do it. And there is so much work being done by so many insurance advisors. I've learned from in the previous role of my being a BDM that amazing some of them, and picked a lot of tricks of the trade from them. So it's really good. There's businesses out there. It's a question of do you have the attitude and the passion to develop your career? That's what the key is.
And I know that there's a lot of people out there who are underinsured, Yeah. I have, friends who have got $1 million home in Auckland, and I'm like, oh, do you have insurance in place? They're like, I think so. I think the bank got me some set up, So there's still a huge demand for insurance advisors. How can we attract new people into the industry?
It's, as I said, showing the ropes, So, like, my plan is, one of the old management techniques is shadowing. So the first few meetings or the first few months of the business, you don't allow them to do things. You just allow them to shadow what you do. And once you start off having them as a shadow, they pick a lot of things on their own and develop the style. But the key thing is the foundation has to be good. Ethics and attitude has to be really powerful. If you don't have those two things, if you're in for making money, then it's the wrong attitude. It's about, why am I doing this? What's in it for the client? And how am I going to get a claim paid for this client? So that's the three things I like to teach my people who work with me, and that's very important, that kind of attitude, to have. And you identify those attitudes in a person, then it's very good.
Yeah, the important one's looking to help people.
Absolutely. Because actually that's what drives me. It's not about selling insurance. Insurance is what people pay money and crib about it. And we are partly to blame because most advisors and many advisors, we like to just sell a bit of life and a bit of health insurance and just walk off and pray, oh, the client doesn't call me. No, don't look like that. Talk about income protection, talk about trauma, talk about total permanent disability. That's one product I was so surprised that it's being so undersold. And in the last 7 years, I'm not relatively new to the industry. I've been only 7 years, but I've got 3 TPD claims paid. I mean, total permanent disability, people say, oh, it's not a great product. It's like, don't waste your money. But that's the best product I could have ever offered for my clients, because they bought it in 2016, 17, and by 2022, most people have been paid more than $500,000. Because the definitions on the products are so good in the industry. TPD, own occupation, especially in today's world, is simply if you cannot go back to being what you do. So if you work for this, your job as a BDM, and you can't, because of a stroke, you can't do this job, you get the money paid. No questions asked about whether you open a dairy shop or you're going to be doing some other work. It's nothing related to another occupation. It's just related, you can't go back to your own occupation. Mm. And I've helped electricians, plumbers, drain layers. Drain layer was the best one because he's 32, broke his shoulder, which led to complications, and he could never be a drain layer. And he got paid good money. But today he's doing something else, a desk job with placemakers, but then he's very happy because he had to let go of his occupation previously. Make sense? So those kind of understanding of how to fit a product. So you come across a plumber, you just walk across and give him life cover and medical cover and walk off. You're doing a great injustice. I think where we're missing out is when people don't sell income protection, trauma, and TPD. So you got to fit the solutions or the products to the solutions the client need and explain and work hard with the client, though it's expensive. Believe me, this is the one you're going to claim, and then prove to them by making them claim for it. And they say, wow, you told me so and it happened. So, and that's what I'm enjoying. There's so much opportunities. You tell me how many tradespeople out there, industry full. And now all the insurance advice I do ask them, like, do you ever gone back to your plumber or electrician in your book and ask them this, check whether they've got the right products, or just have a bit of life cover for the rainy day. Life cover, well, it's not my favorite at the moment. I know I've settled 2 death claims, but life cover is the least risk compared to the other ones when we'll not be able to come back to work, for various reasons.
And do you have, I know you mentioned a few tradies. Is that like a field that you deal in quite a bit? Yes.
As I said, the good thing about our industry and insurance industry is you do a good job, then it spreads around, And what I like about tradies and doctors especially is they got the herd mentality. They will never Google, they will never do anything. They'll just ask another doctor, who is your advisor, that kind of thing. So the tradies, it just goes the same way, And also the other thing I do, which I'm really proud of, is most of my clients who are not paid actors in the videos, they do come to me on my network meetings and other stuff, and talk about what I do. And it makes a huge powerful, so difference when people hear from the clients actually. And actually what I've done or what I'm doing, everybody can do it. Every insurance advisor out there has got so many claims they've paid out. The question is how many of them actually put the videos out. How many have actually done it? So why didn't you do it? The visual effect is so powerful. And, it's just all there. Mm. It's a question of just pulling it together. Make your clients promote you. That's the best way.
How do you ask them to promote you?
It's pretty simple. One of the new things, I'm a bit of a old school, but I'm realizing that every time I finish a good meeting or a good outcome, I ask my client to do a Google review. And I'm surprised, I don't have many now. I got probably 28 or 30 in my Google review. But every time I did a Google review, I get this call from someone wanting home insurance or some insurance, which I don't do. But it's interesting how they found you is because their rankings go up. I think we need to use these new modern methods of social media and all those technologies which are there. And for me, it's so important that the Google reviews actually work because for some reason, the algorithms I think have been developed that the more reviews you do, you kind of come up in the search engines,
It's how consumers shop these days as well. Like you mentioned doctors and tradies chatting to their friends to get that social proof. Yeah. If you don't know anybody, usually search reviews.
Yes, and what happens then is they see your videos, they see the... But the more important thing I like is, what I really like about is these calls that come are not really clients. Somebody wanted travel insurance yesterday. But I'm able to pass it on to my network group, where I belong to. I pass it on to the travel agent. I pass it on to the general insurance broker. So they feel good about it. So they're getting perennially probably 2 or 3 leads from me every week, and they reciprocate over a period of time. So it's good. You're either generating business for yourself or you're generating business for others. So it's really cool, and I love this new, the modern way of marketing. But yeah, not done a paid marketing or anything at the moment, like aggressively, putting you out there, because I'm very happy at the space I am. And there's so much opportunities in the business insurance space, especially, and the ACC space, and putting a package together is complex and people shy away from doing that. So I'm enjoying in that space a lot.
And for soliciting those reviews, do you do that like over a phone call? Is it part of your last meeting or is it an email? How does that work?
Just when the policies, when the acceptance letter of the policy is issued, most of my clients have been like, they get exhausted by the time they finish with me. And they didn't want to see me because it's a really exhausting process. Sometimes it can take 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But I wait for the moment when they've been through the whole process, they call this the aha moment of getting an insurance policy. Then I asked them, would you like 2 sentences? And they're so relieved.
Anything.
Just get out of my face. Just joking. But good claims experience. So in the past, it's all again habits, all the little habits you develop. As we got a process, process of sales or operations where my admin person knows that the moment the acceptance letter is done, we send out a link with a Google saying, would you like to say a few words? And it's a good, smart marketing letter about, I don't know much about this. Could you place a few words? It helps me. And people like to do it quickly.
And do you deal with your clients, those initial meetings, are they all face-to-face? Do you do Zoom or video calls?
Yeah. COVID has been interesting, right? We all hated it, but it's also done good things. Because 4 years back, if I said somebody, you ask them to do a Zoom, they'll say, what are you talking about? Now everyone knows what it is. So now it's a mix, review meetings, the clients know me, so I don't have to go down and breathe down the neck. So we do it through Zoom. But any new client, like tonight, I'm meeting a client. He called me yesterday. It's a referral from his brother-in-law and all that. But I like to meet face-to-face because it's something my dad taught me a long time back, which is the most powerful thing he ever said. He said, you never introduce yourself to anybody on phone, Anand. You're so good at it. Your personality speaks when you see them. And I remember those words. So when I'm building a relationship, the first step of the 6-step process, I insist on clients seeing me either on Zoom or in person. So the 40s and 60s age group will always like to see in person. The youngsters want to see in Zoom, but I always insist because, as you can see, when I'm meeting someone, there's a far more, 80% of your communication is body language. It's not what you say. And I speak a bit fast. Sometimes the words go away, but they see this gesticulation and the passion in the person. They say, he's the right advisor.
People love passion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't show passion on phone or, so I insist always that our first meeting, we should have a face-to-face because that really sets a feeling, and always insisting on meeting both the directors of the company, or if there's a spouse involved, both of them. I don't want this meeting where I'm seeing one person and the other person says, who did you meet? Oh, I got a better broker down the road. No, I want you to understand who I am, where I'm coming from. And there's a cost to this engagement. It's not like free quotes, no. Mm-hmm. So that all things you can't explain on phone. So I do have a strategy where if a client I don't know, or they don't know me, as much as they want me to deal with them, I'm also sussing them out. If I find their attitude towards me is not warm, I would like to walk away because I'm not here a person to sell shoes, I want a long-term relationship. So it works both ways.
You need that trust. And sometimes if you get a bad vibe from somebody initially,
yes,
you got to have the confidence to say no.
I think what I've realized over a period of time is, call me getting old or something, is everybody can't be everything to everyone. I've realized that. It's good to, what you think is an ideal client for you may not be an ideal client for someone else. It's better to let go than trying to act as if, you want a relationship. Because in my dealings, I want the client to be patient and understand why I do what I do. And it's going to be a long-drawn strategy. It's not something you're going to do, a quick solution. You want insurance today, you get it. It doesn't work like that. It takes time, right? So we have to work together. So any good insurance policy comes in place when we both work together. When we ask you information, you provide. When you give the information, I'm able to present properly to the insurance company. And I'm not a mirror. I'm a transparent glass. I told the insurers. So it's very important we have a lot of trust. There's a lot of sensitive information. How many times I've seen clients say, we have no health issues in the first meeting, and make them disclose in a document. And when the actual application is completed, there's 13 more issues that have come up. So there's a process of getting out those information very slowly. And that comes only with trust and,
And sometimes with medical issues, people forget.
Absolutely.
And it's how do you draw that? out of them?
I have to really, say that's something, there's so much information available. Like one of the most simple techniques I can teach, and this I picked up from, Katrina a long time back. She does it pretty regularly. Is you use the ACC 5937 form. It is a form which gives you history of all your claims. And that is by default, we send it for every client to ACC. And whenever a client says, I ask you, Warwick, have you had any injuries? And you will forget all your little injuries. You wouldn't remember.
Yeah, playing like junior rugby.
You just sign this form, and that's how you build a trust. And you demonstrate you mean well. Because when you send the form in, they send you 6 pages, and then I put it in front of you, you would say, God, I don't even remember this. And then some will remember. Sometimes you find your data has been mixed up. But then the elements, I like to go slow because the client then realizes, man, this guy knows his job, and that's how you start the relationship. So for insurance advisors, slow down, look at all these tools available. You can get any information. Do you get information on medical notes? So you're telling me in my first assessment, you got blood pressure, cholesterol, you had a history of diabetes or whatever it is, or some surgery. You're telling me this is my first assessment. I would like to get you 5 years medical notes. It's pretty easy, to write to the doctors and GP and get it. Go through it together and identify the issues which will come and bite you, and then go to the insurance company and get all those issues resolved and get a standard terms. So those are the opportunities why you charge a fee. Make sense? So when client sees the amount of effort you're putting in, then they respect you. If anybody can do a quote and put an insurance policy in place, then you're not required. Then online's pretty good, right? You can go and buy it from any of the onlines. It's about how do you add value? By slowing it down, breaking it down, and explaining to client, what you're buying is expensive. It's something you've got to pay for the long run. Similarly, this is the amount of effort you need to put in to get that. And then once they get it in place, they'll never shop around because they say, we don't want to fill another application form because, it's quite an exhaustive process. Yeah, I make my clients really go through the coal.
But in the long run, that's what you need.
Because what it does is it gives me a lot of peace of mind at claim time. When a call comes, I never say, you call me, every my client, I never say, hey, Warwick, how are you? I know you're calling me because something's gone wrong, right? I just keep, what can I do for you? And then you say something, and you want to make a trauma claim or whatever it is, you're not feeling well or something, I try to match it to what we've got and say, look, do you want to take some time off the work because you're getting stressed? Your wife's not well, this thing. So, and I think you should go and get your assessed for depression or something because you're going through situations and you've got a policy income protection which will pay you if you're really diagnosed with some medical condition. That gives a lot of comfort to the client to know, hang on, I've got a policy which can pay me if I'm off work so I don't have to worry about it. Because a lot of people don't take treatment because they think, who will pay my mortgage? But then you bought income protection for what? So it's about linking the solution. So that's why call me before you call your doctor. So, this all comes over a period of time, as I said, but if you outline your sales process and your operations process, document it, and then train your staff exactly at what touch points they're going to send the right document, it works like magic, Even the referrals come through, everything comes through. And as most insurance advisors know, once you reach a critical size of 600, 700 clients, you're always busy. Yeah. So yesterday I got a call from this gentleman. Tomorrow I'll get an email from someone. So it just rotates, just goes on and on.
So you get to 600 clients.
Yeah.
How do you review them all?
Brilliant question. So good tools. You guys, I'm not part of Trail, but you got good tools where automated review letters go. But do you follow it with a phone call with the new FAP regulations? So I got a telecaller who calls all the people who have not responded. Actually, when I send out emails for review diligently 1 month before, probably maybe 10 or 15 people respond. The rest 80 people who have not responded, I got a telecaller who calls up and says, did you receive the email? Someone will say, yep, we received. It's been 2 years since you met. Anand is very keen that he talks to you over Zoom. We try and insist we meet up. So in that meeting, I do my introspection about, the special events or whatever it has happened to them in the last 2 years. And just one story I'd like to share is when I was doing this 2 months back with a lady I've not reviewed for 4 years. Not that I didn't want to. We kept sending the letters and she kept, I'm busy, And finally she came online 2 months back. I said, we never met for 4 years. What happened, Megan, Oh, I was suffering from chronic fatigue or something like that. When did it happen? Oh, it happened in December 2000, happened in March 2020 when COVID hit and blah, blah, blah. And what happened? Blah, blah, blah. So she's been off work for nearly 9 months. Okay, so I said, would you like to get some money paid out to you now? That's happened. Why? Because you got this income protection. You've been off work for 9 months as a teacher. And you did not ever call me. Remember the golden rule, call me before you call your doctor? And you would qualify for a payment. So how about we applying for a claim and getting it backdated? And she was like shocked. She said, oh, what would insurance pay? I said, well, why did you buy income protection? And that's the reason we have to meet every year and review. And lo and behold, now we're putting a claim for chronic fatigue when she was off work. She's got all the documents in place, but she's back to work now. But then I like to discuss with the insurance company to pay her for the period when she was off work. She did not realize that she could have been claiming from the income protection. So this is what review does,
I wonder how many instances like that happen. People forget they've got insurance in place.
Oh, I mean, you talk to insurance advisors, they'll tell you, I mean, I've done personally 2 claims of trauma for clients who had claims. One was the best story, of course, thanks to the insurance company, where everything. They even canceled the policy in 2019 or whatever it is. But in 2014, she suffered from breast cancer. She forgot she had a trauma cover. So that was an interesting case because I could represent to the client, say, when she was paying the premiums, she had this incident, would you pay her the money? No, I'm going, but over there, but the insurance company was very kind. They said, okay, we will pay her the money.
Oh, that's nice.
So a little engagement. Probably my fee I charged her for was only $300 for 2-3 hours of work I did. But she got around $80,000 paid out on a policy which doesn't even exist. So tell me, what value can advisor add? People ask, and I said, this is what we can do. Engagement with a good advisor means we can find out things for you which you will not be able to find out. Because that's what we do, right? We understand, a simple conversation can give you claims. So, and that's the job I really enjoy, helping people,
I would love to know, Anand, one of the key parts of the new legislation is that the clients understand the advice that's given. With insurance, it's naturally very complex.
Yeah.
How do you communicate it in a way that your clients understand?
Brilliant. It's exactly as you said, the videos speak for itself, People like visuals. Clients, nobody likes to know the word. And remember, you're talking to someone, I will feel squeezy if I walk into a surgeon's room who's doing an operation and I see blood, right? Because for a funeral director, for a surgeon who's doing it every day, it's common. Similarly, for insurance advisors, when you talk about death, disability, trauma, cancer, it's very normal. But clients don't want to talk about it. They want insurance and cover for the family, but they don't want details. It's always about telling them how the money will help if something goes wrong with you, and using all the technical and bad, negative words, and being specific, and then giving them visual reference, like I did videos and stuff about the outcomes. So I always talk about claims. That's what I come from. So I tell why we're sitting today, Warwick, why you called me over is basically if something goes wrong, you want good money to come in for your family. So let's talk about it, what it happens. And these are the 5 risks. Unable to work short term, or if you can't go back to work because of an illness. So trying using big words, which is scary, or, which creates some memories for people. I've had clients cry. I don't mind. I had to cut meetings where when you come to family history, this particular lady, she didn't want to relive the fact that her mom died of breast cancer. She was very close to her. But I had to break the meeting and come back again another day. It's important to remember that you're dealing with humans, right? Mm. And that critical aspect of your mom had breast cancer before the age of 50 has an impact on her. And she said, do I have to answer the question? I said, you only 2 choices. Either answer the question or you can do a confidential underwriting. Don't have to tell me what happened because this will impact your insurance. But not letting go of your principles, but at the same time being considerate and compassionate. Say, we'll talk another day. Let's not do it today. And being in the flow, but always making it an enjoyable experience. And that's what my process is all about. Showing the clients, I mean, well, these are the documents I'm taking, and this is the results of you. Some of them get shocked, some of them get surprised, some of them are relieved. Some of them find that I never had these injuries, why am I being charged for that, So all this fun of conversations, make it like I'm talking to a friend, talking to you. Don't make it exactly, insurance, and don't rush through the meeting. I love long drawn out, the more time you spend with the client. So you always fix a 15-minute meeting. My P always says, Anand will be there for 15 minutes, but I always take around 3 hours to walk off. And that shows if you can stay 3 hours with a client and walk off and they don't feel offended, you got the relationship. try and look for excuses to be around more.
Yeah,
And
it's such
walking
quality
away.
time.
Yeah, the relationship is strong, then they'll listen to you. But if you don't have a relationship, then no point. You might as well sit at home and, ask them to apply online.
So I can see now why you're looking to get another advisor, and you probably hit a point where
Yes.
just because how intense your process is, you naturally need somebody to help you.
Yeah.
600
So,
clients.
brutally honest, I mean, I don't know how advisors do 10 policies a week or 40 policies a month. I hardly do 3 or 4 or maybe 5 at the most I can do. And I don't want to cram because there's so much of, like I'm doing a shareholders protection for 3 directors. That's taken me probably 15 hours of work. And I've been to the solicitor's office. We done joint meetings. I work with the accountant, all this. So even before we put in a proposal, there's so much work to be done to prep it for the insurance company, right? So what I want is, my goal right now is to pass on my skills and knowledge to the right people for my business succession planning. Because no point in having all this business and creating so many clients, but my worry is who's going to look after them when I'm not around, So 2 ways is I've got good backups. I've got the locum tied up and all that, but I would rather have someone working with me and over a period of time, feel confident like I can take some time off naturally or maybe.
When was the last time you took a holiday?
I took it 2 weeks back. I went to Queenstown with my kids. We love skiing. So
well done.
we did. End of this month, I'm going for the MDRT to Sydney. I'm looking forward to that. And then back again. And then I'll be going to Christchurch, Mount Hart, and then the Financial Advisor New Zealand Conference. So do some more skiing in Mount Hart if the snow is good. Yeah, we always try to take little breaks. Then in October, I'm planning to, not fixed yet, but I'll be most probably going to the Himalayas to do my paragliding thing because it's the best season when around 500 pilots come from all over the world and we fly the mountains. And it's good. I try and take breaks as much as possible, short and sharp.
What happens to the business when you're away?
So everything is now, thankfully, can be done by Zoom. And most of my clients know I'm where I am. I let them know well in advance. I don't keep any deals. The servicing is taken care of by Annie. She's my admin. She's well-versed. She knows what to do.
And you just take a Zoom when you're paragliding?
Yeah, not really. I mean, the time zones are different, 6.5 hours. So when it's 5 o'clock in the morning there, it'll be midday and I can work between 5 and 7, clear off all my emails for the day and then go and do what I want.
Man. And having Annie in there, I guess it's like so good having someone to fall back on. Have you ever looked into doing like virtual assistants?
I have tried, but it's all cost effectiveness, and it's a good 1-year race. And thanks to you, you introduced me to a virtual assistant. She was good. But virtual assistant is good for people who want 10 or 15 hours of work. My workload's around 50 hours, literally. And at that point, it doesn't become economical. It's better to have a full-time salaried person, And that's all. I mean, any business starts off, I would strongly recommend, don't struggle, have a virtual assistant. If you don't know one, contact this guy here. He'll introduce you to some people. He did a great job. And start off, but once your workload increases and you've got 30, 40 hours of work, then please give a job to someone. Make them feel happy, pay the bills. And, they got a mortgage, they got stuff to feel and employ people.
Must feel nice to
help feel people. Like a boss, and I love that. I want to grow the business, and so I want to scale it up, but in my own little way, in my own field.
Over time. I can't imagine you're the one who would just kind of hire 5 people on the spot and just let's go.
Don't. As I said, I love my employees, and and even my ex-employees. I'm in touch with her. And, I'm a relationship. It's about people come and go. It's about do good, Today, it's all about relationship, I'm here today because I did some good things with people, And then they refer you back and they come and want you to talk about it.
I'd love to know what your interview process would be like for a new employee.
It's pretty simple, straightforward. Look in the eye, look at his or his eye and say, look, mate, why do you want to do it? And he needs to convince or she needs to convince me why they want to be in this. All you're looking for is a spark, and the person as a spark. Yeah, so I hope so. I mean, job stuff, insurance is not the industry everybody wants to get to, but we need more youngsters. But as I said, it's an exciting line. A lot of things are changing. I'm glad the regulation has come in because there are a lot of barriers to become an advisor, but at the same time, there are a lot of opportunities that's opened up, which is absolutely brilliant for the industry, And
it builds trust as well,
Yeah.
For the industry as a whole.
Yeah, and it trusts. And my biggest message to all insurance advisors, don't shy away from charging a fee. Please, please, please. It does wonders for you. Every time a client comes and says, "Oh, I want you to review," I said, "Why don't you go back to your advisor who sold you the policy? He's still alive. He's down the road. I know him very well. And if you come to me, fair enough. You've got to pay $100 for the same work. He'll do it for free." And that helps them going back to the advisor, or they still want to deal with you. That's fine.
I think your whole ethos around charging fees, I think a lot of advisors that are listening or watching this would really love that, because I do get asked about it a lot, and I see a lot of posts on that community Facebook page about it too. Anand, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been amazing hearing about your journey and your process and where you're going. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thanks. And see you next time. Thanks so much for listening to the Kiwi Advisor Network podcast. Just a friendly reminder, good on you, because this counts towards your CPD hours. Remember, you can catch all the previous episodes on YouTube. We've also got them on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you have any questions for future episodes or any guests that you'd love to see me interview, make sure you email me at warwick@gettrail.com. That's WARWICK@gettrail.com. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.